This Arab man was pulled from his car and beaten by right-wing Israeli nationalists. It's the first act of nationalist violence to receive direct condemnation from the Prime Minister.
Nothing justifies the lynching of Arabs by Jews or the lynching of Jews by Arabs. It's unacceptable. We will not tolerate this. This violence is not us.
The conflict can be seen etched across the skyline. Hamas unleashed a stream of rocket fire towards Israel in retaliation for the destruction of a building in Gaza by Israel. These are the most intense hostilities that the country has seen in 7 years. It is particularly bad in mixed Jewish Arab towns, with relentless rocket fire and rioting. The Palestinians' message to Israel and the Jewish settlers is loud and clear.
I address my words specifically to America and to Israel. Enough is enough. Leave us. We will remain thorns in your eyes. We will not leave our homeland. We will not leave our country.
The US maintained its support for Israel in its call for peace on Wednesday.
My expectation and hope is that this will be closing down sooner than later. But Israel has a right to defend itself when you have thousands of rockets flying into your territory.
Israel's defense was to target the Hamas militants. They say many senior commanders have been killed. But the attacks have also claimed the lives of Palestinian civilians. Neither side is showing any sign of backing down, prompting the United Nations to warn of full-scale civil war.
That the United Nations has a mandate to try and broker peace. The special coordinator himself has been working relentlessly with the various interlocutors here on the ground, the parties, others regionally, and of course other member states of the Security Council and the Quartet for the Middle East peace process. This may not sound like a lot to a lot of your viewers, but this is what will bring the escalation down, and we need to focus on these types of efforts, the humanitarian assistance, and working with all the parties involved to ensure that there's a de-escalation in place. Obviously, stop the fighting. It's civilians who are suffering. As I said, no access to water, sanitation, electricity, healthcare is already suffering because of the COVID pandemic. So that's the first thing. There obviously needs to be a de-escalation. The second thing is we need humanitarian access into and out of Gaza. Our staff needs to be able to get in and out, and we need to be able to bring goods in. And of course, stop the unilateral actions that are taking place. Many of those have already been described by a number of the member states before the Security Council and in other media briefings. Those include things like evictions in East Jerusalem, increasing settlement expansion, settler violence, demolitions of Palestinian property in both East Jerusalem and in the West Bank, and the inability of Palestinians to be able to build on their own land in East Jerusalem and in parts of the West Bank as well. Those actions do not serve a peace process at all, and they need to stop, as do, of course, rockets from Gaza and other violence throughout the Palestinian territory. And now, as I said before, we're seeing in Israel.